Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to this channel. My name is Salman and I'm here to moderate our presentation today. So, our topic today is about noun clause. And before we go to the presentation, let me introduce my team. Start from me. My name is Salman and I'm here to be the moderator of our presentation today.
Hello, my name is Wira. I want to explain about noun clause that.
Hello, my name is Syauqi Zalffa. My task in this group is to explain about noun clause, a subject and object.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Putro with my student ID number 03041182025021, and I will explain about noun clause marker, and before it I will explain a little about noun clause. Thank you.
That's all, my team. Okay, let's start to the presentation. And let us begin with what is noun clause. Noun clause is a dependent clause which function as a noun. And what is dependent clause? Dependent clause is a clause that can stand alone because it doesn't convey a complete though, even though it has subject and a verb. Noun clause can run as a sentence complement, such as subject, object, object of preposition, subject of complement, and can be replaced by it. Example, I have a sentence like this. The person whom I like has a pair blue eyes. Okay, let's build the structure. First, the subject. The subject is the person whom I like. The predicate is has, and the object is a pair blue eyes. And take a look to the subject. We got another noun over there, and followed by conjunction, and that is called as noun clause. Okay, another example. The country which locates near Indonesia is Australia. Okay, let's build the structure again. Start from subject. Subject is a country which locates near Indonesia. And the predicate is, and the object is Australia. And take a look again to the subject. We got another noun and followed by a conjunction, and that is the noun clause. The last example from me before I pass this to my team. Okay, I have a sentence like this. The CEO said that when the tournament will be held hasn't announced yet. Okay, let's peel it again. Start from subject. The subject is the CEO, and the predicate is said, and the object is when the tournament will be held hasn't announced yet. Like I said before, noun clause can be subject or object. Okay, I think that's all from me for the definition and the foreword about noun clause. For the deeper material, I please Syalsa to explain.
Noun clause are the third type of subordinate clause. They begin with noun clause markers. Noun clause that are from statements begin with the noun clause marker that. If that is a middle of a sentence and in front of a dependent clause, then the that function becomes a noun clause marker. For example, that as a clause marker. 1. I can see that you understand my opinion. In this sentence, that is in the middle of sentence. 2. That he will laugh is why I'm so sad. In this sentence, that is in front of dependent clause. In the sentence, the car that I booked is expensive. The sentence is noun clause. If only I bought a car, it is a noun. And if sentence I bought it, it is a pronoun. Usually, that clause for mental activity, verb on main clause, which is usually followed by clause are dream, hope, know, learn, notice, think, and believe. For example, 1. That today is his birthday is not right. 2. I think that the group will arrive in an hour. 3. Diana believes that her life will be happy. Only noun clause with subordinate that can be reduced, but not that clause at the beginning of the sentence which function as the subject. For example, 1. I hope that he is doing well. 2. My dream is that people will find a way to connect with the poor. Tense of noun clause. 1. Present tense plus future tense. For example, I hope that the trip will be fun and unforgettable. 2. Present tense plus present tense. For example, I guess that she is sleeping in the library now. 3. Present tense plus past tense. For example, I think that the bread was baked 3 days ago. 4. Past tense plus past future. For example, the class assumed that the teacher would be late. 5. Past tense plus past tense. For example, she supposed that her friend was walking to the post office. 6. Past tense plus past perfect. For example, he heard that you had written a book.
Thank you, Salsa, for an amazing presentation about noun clause marker that. Next, it's about noun clause marker form, and it will described by Syauqi. To Syauqi, I please.
Okay, thank you, Salman, and thank you, Salsa. According to what I said earlier, I will explain both noun clause marker. But before that, I will explain a little about noun clause. So what is noun clause? Check it out. Okay, I will explain about a little noun clause. So what is noun clause? Noun clause is a dependent clause because the sentence turns into a noun, but because it depends on another sentence, the sentence becomes a noun. And noun clause is needed if a sentence requires more information to be clear. For the example, we have sentence I want to borrow it. There's we have subject and then predicate and pronoun. The subject is I and the predicate is want to borrow and it is pronoun. Okay, so when you suddenly say the sentence to your friends or anyone without pointing at an object or anything, your friend must be confused about what the words it means. I'm sure. How if we add a noun clause behind that sentence? Okay, if we add a noun clause behind it, for the example, I want to borrow whatever the book Sarah ever lent you. Okay, we have noun clause there. Noun clause, whatever the book Sarah ever lent you is noun clause. Well, the meaning of the sentence is even clearer because when you say that sentence to your friends, your friend will understand what the meaning of that sentence. Okay, so even though if you haven't talked any books before, your friends will understand that the books you are going to borrow are books lent to Sarah. Okay, now I will explain about non-clause marker. Check it out. Okay, now what is non-clause marker? Non-clause marker are words that are commonly used to start a non-clause. The types of non-clause markers include questions words, and then if or whether, and that. If you see a dependent clause that is preceded by these words, then that means the dependent clause is a non-clause. And this is for the explanation and use of the non-clause marker and its example. Check it out. Okay, first about questions word plus subject plus a verb. As we already know, the questions word includes what, why, when, who, where, and how. But not only that, words like whoever, whatever, whichever, wherever, whose, whom, whomever are also included in the questions word. For example, I didn't understand what you said. Can you repeat it once again? Okay, what you said there is use questions word what. And then we have examples again. We still don't know who will die first among us. Who will die first among us? Use questions word. And then, can you tell us how you are feeling now? And we know how you are feeling now, use question word. Okay, next, if or whether plus subject plus verb. Besides the questions word, the next noun clause markers are if and whether. Here are examples of sentence. Okay, the first examples. I just want to know if I can help you. That's why I call. If I can help you, use if. And the second examples. He couldn't choose whether to buy a computer or a new smartphone. Whether to buy a computer or a new smartphone, use whether. Okay? And the last non-clause marker is that. Furthermore, that is also included in the non-clause marker if it's in the middle of a sentence and in front of a dependent clause. Next, an example of that as a non-clause marker as follows. The first example, I can see that you understand my opinion. That you understand my opinion, use non-clause marker that, and subject is I and the verb can see. The second example, that he will leave is why I'm so sad. That he will leave, use non-clause marker that. And the last example, he didn't know that I love him up until told him the truth. That I love him, use non-clause marker that. Okay, maybe this is the end of my explanation, starting from a little explanation about non-clause, about non-clause marker. So I leave it to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Syauqi, for the great presentation. And the last presentation will be the referred by Trio. To Trio, I please.
Thank you, moderator. Okay, the next material and the last material is non-clause, a subject and object. Nonclass as subject and object is a subclass that function as the subject or object. Of the subclass, here is a class that follow the main class, whose name is a class, must be followed by a conjunction with a conjunction plus subject plus verb pattern. Okay, let's go to the first example, which is the subclass that is positioned as a subject, such as where do you live is known by them. Now, the explanation is like this, where is position as a conjunction, you position as a subject and live as the verb. Now, so where do you live is a subclass that is positioned as the subject. We go to the second example. Now, the second example is almost the same as the first example. The difference is that the subclass is positioned as an object. With the following example, I know where you live. Well, the explanation is like this: I position as subject and know as verb. Well, this is an example of an object, and one more of this object sentence must be a statement and not a question. Let's move to the third example. Blah 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 was caused by breathing impure air was once a common belief. A. Malaria, B. Dead malaria, C. Why malaria, and D. Because malaria. Well, in my opinion, the correct answer here is B. Dead malaria. Why? Because that noun clause is that malaria was caused by breathing impure water, which is the subject, and was as the verb. Okay, let us continue to the last example of the question, namely one basic psychologist question have tried to answer is A. People learn, B. How people learn, C. People learn how, D. How people learn. Now the correct answer to the question is B. How people learn. Why? Because there is a clause on the conjunction is how. Okay, thank you so much for me. I return it to the moderator.
I think it's enough for today's presentation. If there is a bad word or a mistake in delivery material, I represent the whole team to apologize. And to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, I beg your forgiveness. My last word is don't forget to train your English anytime and anywhere. I'm Salman Rahab signing out. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.